All right, guys, we are live. So it is 9/23, which is September 23rd, 2014. Joshua Fletcher here, otherwise known as Fletch, and we are going to run a session of Office Hours for OMG Machines Project Juggernaut. So I always like to start the sessions with kind of a little live FaceTime action, just to let everybody know who I am and what I'm about. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now, and as soon as the lag time catches up, do a quick sound check. Yeah. All right, sound check sounds good. So we are. It's always change. Yeah, Google Hangouts about every 2 weeks or so changes their format. So yeah, if you're on, just give a shout out. Let me know your name. I assume most people that are going to be on today are relatively new to OMG, but I'd love to know kind of what your background with online marketing or SEO or whatever is, just so I get a kind of feel for, who we have on for each of these coaching sessions, and kind of, who's decided to jump live on these office hours and take advantage of it. So beyond that, just for people, I know we're kind of getting ramped up with the new crew that we have on board. My office hours are kind of a hybrid of, the absolute like SEO, the technical stuff, which includes anchor text and title tags and backlinks and all that kind of thing, and also kind of all the money getting side of it. So choosing niches, deciding on kind of a monetization plan, figuring out what you're going to do to make money with your SEO or list building or whatever it might be. So pretty much any kind of questions are fair game on these sessions. So yeah, anything you guys want to get into, I'm more than happy to I guess kind of show you what I know and the way I approach it. Even if I typically don't have a lot of experience with it, I can kind of put things together pretty quick. I'm more than happy to do kind of over-the-shoulder demonstrations as well. So very frequently we get into some kind of keyword research or competition research or research for PBN buying, things like that. And that's totally cool. That's kind of one of the things I'm here for. So on that note, let me, usually on my sessions, I tend to, the first 5-10 minutes or so, make sure that I don't have people that are trying to get in and having some issues. So, yeah, I got somebody here that I'm going to direct over real quick. All right, got a few people that are trying to jump on live today, so I'm just going to get them the direct link real quick here, and then we can kind of move forward. Okay, that's what I see right now. Okay, we should be good. All right, the other thing for tonight, I've kind of had a cold lately, so my voice is kind of a little raspy in the mouth and stuff, so I've got a bunch of water. Hopefully it'll work, but if I wind up coughing or whatever, and I'll try to mute my mic before I do it, but I'll apologize beforehand if something like that comes back. So. All right, we got Slav on. Hello, glad you're on board. Yeah, Pat's on. I don't see the new session for the day. All right. make sure you are on the right page for today's session. So if you're watching the video, I'm going to repeat it in here just in case somebody's watching on replay. But make sure that you're on the right page. Today's, like I said, the 23rd of September. So just navigate back to, if you're not, just navigate back to the home page. Oops, home page, and click through for coaching project Juggernaut and today's date. Okay, that was a couple people we had in the chat box that may be on the wrong page. So yeah, we got Gene. Okay, cool. So good session today. Kind of on a side note, a lot of times I go through our membership area here, and the news feed, of course. Let me go ahead and make my cursor larger. I'm not sure if actually, I may not do that. That's brightness. I'm going to skip that. I don't think it shows up anywhere. My cursor doesn't. So anyway, in the membership area for OMG Machines Project J, Project Juggernaut, the news feed here is something created by David Mills that will keep you up to date on things that are scheduled, office hours, coaching sessions, things of that nature, and also will update you as to when new videos are added. So if you look right here for the 22nd, which was yesterday, David made note of the fact that Greg has added a couple different videos. One of them being a replay to Greg's last office hours, and then a second one that's on the supremacy page, third video down. So if we go over to website supremacy, and then the third video down, September 22nd, careful linking out, safety update. So that video, you should go watch it if you have not yet, but it refers to the fact that you should be careful about linking out to junky websites, especially if they're de-indexed for some reason. Most of the time we don't. We're pretty careful and we link back to our money sites that we're building up, and they're pretty safe and things like that. But things happen, and especially as you start to grow, you can wind up with more PBNs than you keep track of closely. Usually not a good situation. You want to make sure that you know where you're posting and what is being linked to, especially from your PBN sites, because those things will have a direct impact on how long those PBNs stay intact and doing the things that we want them to. So, a PBN is an asset that we buy for our business and build up and build value into. So we want to make sure that we get as much value out of them as we can. All right, Denise is on. Great. Yeah, she was one of the people that we had that I needed to email real quick. One more person. Let's see if I can get them. All sorts of people coming on right now. So, yeah, bear with me a little bit. We'll get some more people on board here. It's usually quite beneficial to have a few more people on board. It kind of adds to the energy and perspective and questions and things that we can get to. So, more than happy to spend a little extra time on the front end. I typically don't have to cut our sessions short at all. My flexibility is usually such that I can run these as long as we need to. We typically keep them around 90 minutes. As much as anything, it's because that is about the amount of time you can pay attention to, something and get a lot of good out of it. So we typically run about 90 minutes on my sessions just to give people an idea of kind of where we're going and what we can cover and things of that nature. So I'm going to check real quick here on Facebook if I do get some messages there real quick. Actually, I have it open. personal message. Should be good. All right. Let's go back over to. Oops. Okay. All right, Priscilla is on. Good to know. All right, so I'm a new member. I've already purchased some PBNs before joining. Wondering if my PBN PR0 with a DA23 and PA of 33 still provides decent backlinking. Backlinking power, I assume. Or do I really need to buy PR2 and higher along with solid DA and PA? Slav, you're going to have to check it out. PA and DA are really a lot more relevant to what's currently important in the world of SEO. So very likely, if you've got a good site with good clean links that has those metrics, oops, let me go back and highlight this. It's always easier on the replays if we kind of know how we're working with. If you've got a website that you purchased that has good metrics, good links that are from kind of good neighborhoods, meaning the sites that are linking to you are of high quality, with those metrics, you're going to get a lot of good out of a site like that. So don't worry about the PR0. That's certainly not the highest concern that we have. PR a lot of times will tell us kind of where to start looking, but is usually not kind of the purchase decision. It can kind of help us filter a lot of sites quickly, especially if we're using link building tools and things like that to know where we can place links that will get, you know, some power, some authority, and things like that. But if you're buying a PBN, the DA and PA metrics are much more important than PR. And beyond that, just make sure you go through and do some research. Click through on really like the top 10 or 15 links on any of those expired domain sites to make sure that they are not only still in place and valid, but that the site that is linking to you looks to be valuable. You know, it's not just some spammed out site with a bunch of links on it, or obviously being used for some kind of spam purposes. If it's a site like that, even if the expired domain you have has good domain authority and things like that, it's probably not worth picking up because, especially recently, some of those de-indexing situations have come from spam penalties. So you want to kind of be wary of that. Just make sure that you've got, beyond the DA and PA, make sure that those links that are coming to you are from good sites. You'll be in good shape. All right, Priscilla, are you talking about linking out from money sites or from a PBN? From a PBN, Priscilla. So, yeah, well, from a money site as well, we typically place, you know, what's called an authority link in a lot of our content on a money site. So we'll link out to Wikipedia or YouTube or something like that. A really highly trusted website on the internet, and that's just to make sure that the link metrics that we have on our money site, which are what we want to rank, to make sure that those link metrics are not just a dead end, meaning there's a lot of links coming to your site and not a lot of links going out. We don't want that situation. So we do build links out from our money site, and we build those typically to high domain authority sites. But what I was talking about earlier is specifically from your PBN. It's just as valid, though, as far as the comment goes and the kind of the mindset for linking out from your money sites as well. So, yeah, Slav says PBN from money site. Yep. All right, so Fletch, when you said to be careful linking out, does it mean from money sites or PBN? Yep, that's a question I just got to, so we're in good shape. All right, Eric, hey, Fletch, I'm interested in pursuing your local client consulting. Lead selling strategy, okay. I recall that you explained how you price out a flat monthly fee. Would you price out a per call fee if it could vary so much? How would you break it down and charge on a per call lead basis? Yeah, Eric, one of the things that, well, actually the bulk, the majority of my income on a monthly basis now is from pay per call, meaning that I get paid for performance. I get paid when I make a client's phone ring, for, you know, just to kind of sum it up and keep it clean. So pricing for that, you can kind of get at it through, I don't know, maybe 3-4 different directions. One of them is kind of backing into it based on what that client is worth. You know, if it's the typical sale is $800 and there's a 20% margin in it, you're looking at $160, and you want to run around 5% of, you know, the overall gross of the gross of the sale for marketing costs. So, you know, if you've got an $800 sale and it takes 3 calls to get a close, you are going to need to be somewhere around $35 for 3 calls, about $12 per call. Most of the niches that I go after, that's a real quick and dirty kind of explanation of that method. I cover a lot of those in that 60-day Day Job Killer series, as well as there's a couple people who have been doing that within OMG who made up kind of a little spreadsheet. I think they call it the Fl1Tch. It's kind of an interesting term, but it's in the files section in the Facebook group. So what's this? If you are on the OMG HB team group and you go over to the files section, there are resources here. Somewhere in here is a little bit of spreadsheet for coming up with, yeah, the Fl1Tch right here. It's an Excel spreadsheet. It is something that can help you get at a justifiable price for the leads you generate, and it's kind of along the methodology of what I use typically. So I even though I put the numbers together for it, one of our members actually put that spreadsheet together and posted it to the group. So grateful for that, but that's how that came into being. Some other ways are to kind of base it off pay-per-click, and then the third way is really to just price yourself similarly to what other people in your market would charge for those same leads. So those are kind of the 3 ways that you can price your services on a pay-per-call basis. As you may have noticed, yeah, if you go back to the Project J homepage, this is something I got over to David a little while ago, and he's got a lot more wisdom and savvy as to when this information comes out. But just looking at it here, so the 17th here, David posted, Fl1Tch is a master of virtually all things OMG. That's kind of a side note. So sometime in the next 2 weeks, that's from the 17th, there's a whole bunch of new videos coming out along those lines. Not only pricing, but client getting and all that kind of thing. So be on the lookout for that. I'll try to probably post about it in the group when those videos come out. We like to keep most of the news items released here just because it keeps things cleaner for, depending on when you came in and on board with OMG. It you know, it doesn't look then like we're trying to get some of our older members, you know, like, oh, you're missing out on this kind of thing. It's not it at all. So just make sure you check that news feed because there will be some more videos that cover that specifically. But yeah, I'm glad you're following that line. It is something that is incredibly easy to sell. It's very profitable, and it is a very easy to feel good about solution to sell to a local business because they only pay for what they get, which is pretty cool. All right. Okay, so that was Eric's question that we just covered. All right, Slav. Thanks. Any alternatives to Moz, OpenSite Explorer? Not sure if I can afford the $99 per month right now. Yeah, one of the things you can do, depending on what other services you might be using, let's do a quick little search for it. Moz coupon Namecheap. Do a search for that, Slav, and you'll get this result coming up. If you buy, I think it's 3 domains from Namecheap, they'll give you 3 months free on Moz. Where is it here? Oh, 4 months free. This is what I was talking about. So Namecheap was a registrar that I used especially if you're going to buy some EMDs or branded sites for build-outs of money sites. If you get an account set up with Namecheap, this will be the detail. I don't want me to sign in to get the details. So anyway, I'd look into that because yeah, $100 a month. I totally get that it can be a little bit of a cost constraint, especially if you're just getting up and getting started. Very likely though, you're going to buy some domains. And if you're paying for the domains anyway, you might as well get 4 months free for Moz. And then after that, the billing will kick in. But $400 free, getting you down the road 4 months where you can be cash flow positive and have that just be a normal expense of your business as opposed to just out of pocket is definitely a good way to approach it. So if I were you, I would do that. Yeah, definitely a good way to go. All right, Eric, what advice would you have for finding local lead gen CPA offers? Do you Google them or go to large CPA networks to find offers to fill? Okay, so 2 things there, Eric. One, just a quick kind of little backstory on me. When I first got involved with OMG, I built out quite a few sites, like probably 50 sites that I started putting content on, getting rankings, all that kind of thing. Let me got one more email, and then I'll get back into the. Okay, so when I first got started, I ranked some sites, and I actually was found by a couple CPA offers, I guess you could call it. So they found me, they found the sites, they asked me how I was monetizing them. At the time, I kind of had some ideas, but I really didn't have it ironed out that well. And so they asked if they could, interest me in putting their offer on my websites. So that's turned into a really good situation for me. I won't say that it's not totally in your control if you do that, but don't be surprised if it happens. Beyond that, I know Joe Marfolio just did several new videos in OMG that are along those same lines, and Joe and I talk a lot. We actually have worked together on a couple different little projects. Let me see if I can find. Let's go to session. There we go. So, yeah, so this is the main page here. Yeah, so, yeah, right here, Joe Marfolio, longtime veteran, much loved member trainer at OMG, has created an entire module. 5 new videos to supplement his September 7th video about the hugely helpful topic of local CPA. So local CPA just stands for cost per action. It means you get paid when somebody does something, whether it's make a call or fill out a form or click a link even sometimes. So this can include cost, pay per call. And Joe and I are very much of the same mindset when it comes to this. A lot of times we talk about what we're each doing and how we're getting clients and how we're monetizing our sites. Go check that out. I have not seen those videos, but just because I know Joe so well and we talk so much, I know they're going to be of huge value. So make sure you check those out. And beyond that, it kind of comes down to just a situation where it depends. It depends on the kind of site you're building, on the mindset of the people that you're trying to get in front of, and things like that. Because, a CPA network is great, and, the big networks can really, provide a way to monetize almost anything. But at the same time, you have to understand the market and what you're trying to get in front of, the keywords they might be using, the kind of content and offers that they might be interested in. So I know Joe covers a lot of that here, so I would check that out kind of first and foremost. All right. All right, that was Eric here. All right, Denise, what are the links on a decent DAPA PDN are mostly no follow? Not a problem, Denise. As long as they're good sites, I've got a lot of sites, I won't say a lot, but a handful of sites that I've ranked with only no follow links. You know, if I put a small money site together and put like 5 YouTube videos out that I, you know, do some SEO work to throw a Fiverr gig at, and the description contains a link back to my website, very often I can rank with just that, especially in the local niches. And those are going to be no follow links. So while you do want to pay attention to whether it's no follow or do follow, it just because it's no follow does not mean to disregard it. It tends to not have quite as much power or influence, but at the same time, it's still worth having. So, yeah, I would, in a situation like that, I would probably not pay as much as if those links were all do follow, but it doesn't mean that it won't be of quality and won't have potential to help you rank. So, all right, so also, are there any cheaper alternatives to register Compass that will show DAPA expired domains? Doesn't show DA and PA. Yeah, I've not really found any good ones. Slav, there are some other auction sites that are private. Expired domains, to my knowledge, is one of the only places where you can go and get access to a bunch. There'll be people who sell off, you know, here's and there's. You know, they might have 10 sites listed at any given time, and I picked a few up off of just random sites. But for the most part, expired domains is the best place to go and you know, actually spend time putting research in. They just have way more than anybody else out there. All right, Eric, great. Thanks, Fletch. Looking forward to the new series. Cool, cool. All right, Priscilla, if you don't mind sharing, how many PBNs are you actually using in your money sites? Gregor T says he owns more than 800 PBNs, which kind of boggles the mind. Yeah, Gregory is he's a juggernaut in his own right in that regard. One of the things he's able to do is to acquire those PBN sites through his own methods. He actually developed, I think, some software or something like that that helped him locate and purchase those things. Right now, actively, I think I'm probably at 150 PBN sites, and that's after 18 months. That lets me rank. I've got, I don't know, 60 or 80 different money sites, and that lets me rank all those, all my videos, whatever I need to do there. So don't get so caught up in the numbers. Just really think about what you're doing and design it so that if you've got, you know, one money site, you're likely going to need maybe 5, 6, 8 PBN sites to the one money site. But once you have those 8 PBN sites, that let you get maybe 2 other money sites up and going. Even though you can't use the exact same 8 on each of those 3 money sites because it starts to kind of create a footprint, it does let you have a lot more utility. So when you start to kind of pencil it out and say, okay, I've got a link coming from here to here, and from here to here, and from here to here, what else can I do with these sites? That's one of the reasons we can put more than one post on the homepage of the PBN and link out to a different money site, because one of the things that helps us do is to break up that footprint and make sure that we have good, valuable PBN sites that are not just linking out to, you know, 1 or 2 money sites. All right, Priscilla, when I got 4 months free from Moz, I was never asked if I was a customer of Namecheap. Oh, cool. Namecheap link is down. Go to Moz live chat and ask them if they can extend the normal 30-day free to 120 days. They did that for me. Awesome. So cool. Great community. Thank you for that little bit of insight there, Priscilla. That's Slav. Thanks. Is Moz a lot better than Majestic? I like it better, Slav. It shows less links. It's easier to use for me. And it has different metrics. So domain authority and page authority are proprietary to Open Site Explorer, and they're the ones that own Moz, or vice versa, one of the two. So if you use Majestic SEO, they're going to have different metrics. The 2 metrics they typically use most are trust flow and citation flow. Those are both good metrics to pay attention to. They kind of help us kind of aggregate a lot of the stuff that we do kind of in our own head. when we're looking at the quality of links coming from sites. So Majestic SEO does have value, but if you were going to get one, I would definitely go for Open Site Explorer. All right, so neither one are really always accurate in my opinion. I bought expired domain, not auction. Check Moz only to find out that another site showed numerous spam links. Fortunately, it only cost me $11. Yeah. Yeah, so each, well, there's more than just the three, but Open Site Explorer, Ahrefs, and Majestic SEO are kind of the big three that a lot of people in SEO use to do link research. They will each show you different links. They have their own bots that go out, crawl the internet, and they build a database of links that exist. So when you do a search on any of those sites, they will return to you the links that their bots found. So because each of those bots not only is different than the others, but also different than Google, you're always going to get different results. If you only have one to go with, like I said, I like Open Site Explorer. You can wind up giving yourself so much information to work off of that it's hard to make a decision. That can happen a lot of times, and especially before you have a lot of experience, it almost just becomes a hindrance to taking action and getting something in place, and that's really where you learn. Actually buying site, getting it up, and seeing whether or not the link that you post there is going to power your rankings and power your money site. So try to keep the information, I won't say at a minimum, but keep it very directed toward your progress and toward your improvement, which means that it has to facilitate you taking action. So that's why I typically don't recommend people getting more than one link research tool, especially when they're starting out. I have all three of those in addition to one other, but that's really because I am in kind of the position I am with needing to relate a lot of different information to people that may come from different backgrounds. So I actually don't know anybody else that runs all four of those link research tools and uses them very much because it's just too much information. We don't need it. All we need to do is to make sure that we find good quality sites that are clean, that have not been linked to from spammy or bad sites, and that's really where the value that we're going to acquire comes from. So, all right, David, if I understand the process, PBN sites are typically put on SEO hosting, and money sites are put on a different hosting account. Is that how you work with Fl1Tch? Yeah, you can actually do both. So, SEO hosting, it kind of as a term refers to the fact that each of your sites, even though they're under the same hosting account, will be able to be assigned different IP addresses, which to Google and any other prying eyes out there will make them look much more like they are totally separate and not owned by the same person. So the reason we use SEO hosting accounts is to give the impression that each of our sites is under different ownership, and so the links coming from them are that much more valid. And beyond that, it's also a good idea to have your money sites hosted that way as well. We typically have much less, a lower number of money sites than we do PBN sites. So you can host a money site with HostGator or with Bluehost or with some other big hosting account. But I also use SEO hosting, Skynet, BizBuilder hosting for my money sites. All of my money sites right now are hosted on those three. I've got a couple on Bluehost, a couple on HostGator. So for the most part, we just want to make sure that we are not linking to and from the same IP address, meaning that your IP for your PBN sites is not going to be the same as the IP for your money sites. Beyond that, you're pretty good, but to add a degree of safety, I usually host my money sites as well as my PBN sites on what's called SEO hosting, which means we get a different IP address for each of those sites that we put up. So, all right, that's a good question though, David. That's something it took me a long time to kind of figure out too. whether we treated our PBNs that much differently than our money sites. I saw an example of NashvilleSEO.org. It doesn't seem to have that many gurus recommend to have what many gurus recommend to have. Many backlinks such as click here, visit the site, check this out, many URL backlinks, but rather Nashville SEO. Whoops. Seems to be powered by money keywords and its variations. Is that correct? Yeah, for the most part. As long as you vary your keywords to a degree, you can have much more influence on your rankings than if you just have those generic anchor texts. Those generic anchor texts are not necessarily going to put you in a lot of danger. They're safe, but they also don't power you near as much as getting some money keywords in there will do for you. So that's one of the things that's great about having Greg, is that he knows that, where most of the gurus will, go read what some other people may have done research on and kind of, spin a little bit, make it their own, whatever kind of thing. But they don't have their own research to fall back on. So really what Greg is able to do is not only keep us safe, but also keep us very effective. And because of that, yeah, if you pretty much follow the examples Greg gives you, you're going to be okay. Not only being safe, but also having a lot of influence on your ranking because of the anchor text that we can use. All right, Stephanie, are the sites you make for CPA offers the same as client sites? Yes and no. So some of the sites that I build will be set up specifically to generate phone calls, maybe, for a local client. So those are going to be sites that I own, that I control, that I have a tracking phone number on, and whenever that phone rings, it actually is forwarded to a local business, and I get paid based on that. Now, the cool thing is, because I own that site, I control all the content. If I want to put some other kind of CPA offers on it, whether it's a data form submission for a different offer, or an affiliate link for an Amazon product, if it's a physical product that I can figure out a way to make a sale on, I can put those on my sites. If you're working with a client's site, they're likely going to determine or have the final say on the kind of content and offers you're going to have there. So if you're working and doing like SEO as a service, Stephanie, they're going to probably determine what kind of content you can put on their site. If it's a site you own, you can decide to do with it kind of whatever you want. The whatever I want typically will be put a phone number on it, try to generate some calls, possibly put a CPA offer on it, and get some people to fill out like a data form and hit submit, which I get paid for as well. And then even beyond that, one of the things that I've started doing is to find Amazon products that I can sell as an affiliate and get some click-throughs on that as well. So there's kind of a few different ways you can monetize it, which I highly recommend. Until you really start doing these things, it's hard to learn about them kind of without some trial and error. So I've got local sites that will rank for, this is not a specific term, but if it would be like, blown fiberglass insulation in Houston, it doesn't get a ton of searches, but somebody might be looking for an insulation contractor. Well, there's a phone number there they can call a local contractor that can come out and put that kind of insulation in their house. But they also might be looking for do-it-yourself information. So I've got a do-it-yourself guide that I sell, which is an info product, and I've also got a link to a place where you can actually just buy the insulation if you want to do it yourself. So you can learn how to do it and do it yourself. So I can make money regardless of the kind of traffic that gets. Hopefully that's not getting too involved. I don't want to confuse you, but I also do want to kind of open up the back end of, really start to think about where your people are coming from and what they might want if they type that search phrase in. And that'll give you some, some ideas or some opportunities to put different kinds of offers on your sites and possibly get some sales and some commissions for that. All right, Pat R., can you please discuss the amount of content that should be on a PBN versus money site? Pat, I actually, the entire time I've been with OMG, I've been, I guess, kind of hyper-conservative, and I build out my PBN sites to look almost like a money site would. I put opt-in forms. I put sometimes ads. I put direct like banner links over to different sites or things that I can dig up that are related to what I want to do. And that is specifically to make that site look like somebody cares about it and somebody is actually paying attention to it and not just using it for links. The way I look at PBN sites is that they are an investment that we want to take care of, and if anything, grow the value of over time. And so for my money, it's worth putting a little extra time and effort into making them look good and putting reasonable content on there that provides value beyond just a link to our money site. So I typically order articles or write articles that are somewhere between 300 and 500 words. I sometimes even make custom videos for a PBN site that is there. One second, I got one more message here. Okay, something I'll have to get to later. So on that note, I really do put a lot of time and effort into making my PBN sites look good, because, like I said, I want to kind of protect that asset and make it grow over time, if anything. All right, so that was this question from Pat. All right, Priscilla, if you sign up for Majestic for free, you can get trust flow and citation flow metrics and a graphic for inbound links. I don't know how long it lasts. Restrict Compass is the only subscription I have right now. It's such a time saver. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Restrict Compass just saves tons and tons of time. All right, Denise, is there any need to hide our identity with money sites? It depends on how many you have, Denise. I've got 3 money sites right now that I have my kind of name on, really. JoshuaFletcher.com, of course, this one. EcoBuild Group, which is my old construction site, which I've now turned into a whole bunch of other things. And then I have one site that I'm kind of connected to along with my brother. And beyond that, all my money sites are set up either without really an identity or with some kind of pseudonym, you know. So yeah, we definitely want to put who is protection on the domain name ownership, and take all of the same precautions with a money site that you do with a PBN site for the most part. All right, Michael, I'm trying to rank for my product side effects. Oh, product side effects. Keyword page. The home page is showing up in the search instead of the inner page. I intend to rank for that keyword. How can I rectify this? Oh, it will sort itself out as I send more targeted links to and relevant anchors to the inner page. Okay, so that's going to be something, Michael. That changes depending on the current algorithm with Google. It's something I've seen change maybe 4 times in the last couple years. And sometimes Google is more prone to rank inner pages. Sometimes it's more prone to rank the home page. And it's just something you kind of have to take with a grain of salt. You want all your pages to be set up well and have the potential to convert, especially if it's a money site, because depending on the current algorithm, it will change. While your site may rank the exact same, the page Google decides to show in the SERPs may change. So that's just something that kind of you've got to, I won't say understand, it's not like you don't understand it, but you have to kind of come to grips with, is that while Google only ranks a single page, you need to anticipate the potential that Google will rank either an inner page that you're trying to rank or potentially the home page. And that could even change, depending on silo structure and things like that, to become even a different page in your, kind of architecture on your website. But it's not something you can necessarily force with more links or different things that you put into place on your website. For the most part, it's going to be something that Google kind of decides on. You can force it if you only have a website that only has mostly a home page and you send all of your links there. But if you get beyond that, it's one of those things that's kind of, you know, just dependent upon the algorithm. So, all right, Slav, what about social signals? Should I make sure to have Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook likes coming to my money site? Yes, definitely like social signals, Slav. The example I gave in my 60-day day job killer series of the spinal decompression did not have any static links. The only thing it had going to it were some social signals from Twitter, from Google+, a couple from Facebook, and one video from YouTube, also no follow. So you can definitely rank a money site with just those social signals. I definitely like them. It's something I continue to put more and more in play as time goes by, but especially for money sites. The more social activity you can get, the better off you're going to be. It helps break up your anchor text and gives you a lot more kind of diversity, and just makes your site look more real and valuable to people, because right now Google definitely values signals and traffic from the social networks instead of just from the Google search engine. Strangely enough, Google search engine actually kind of looks to those other signals as being kind of trust signals that it can throw into its own calculation of what's important, what people want, what people are paying attention to. All right, Eric, do you tell a local consulting client that domain names of sites that have phone numbers that forward to them? No, I do not, Eric. A couple different reasons for this. One is that any given month, I may have calls coming from a single website going to 3 or 4 different companies. So if I'm able to generate 50 calls a month and a company is only able to take 10 of them, I'm definitely going to make money on those other 40. And the way to do that is to, you know, rotate through and forward them to other companies. The other reason is that it usually, if anything, it just kind of makes it more complicated and harder to close the deal. If you get into that, then you're getting into online marketing, and then people are asking about SEO and everything else. And it doesn't necessarily mean it won't lead to something good, but it just kind of slows the process down and confuses things. And typically for, you know, closing a sale or conversion or anything like that, confusion's bad. Many times when I'm selling leads, they do not know where they are coming from, to the extent that they don't even know if they're coming from online or not. The leads are good. They're people picking up the phone and asking them for the stuff that they do. So they usually they don't care where they come from. So I don't even get into it for the most part. All right, Stephanie, thanks. Do you have properties ranked at first for proof for your first clients? So one of the things I did first, Stephanie, like I kind of talked about a little bit, was I sell leads, and so because of that, it was a little different. What I'm getting into with the new series that's coming out that David's going to post here soon, and I'll give you guys kind of a sneak peek on it. It's nothing that's like mind-blowing, but it's very simple and it's very straightforward, is to get a site built, okay? Even before it ranks, spend 50 bucks and do pay-per-call or pay-per-click and send some traffic to that site. Get people going to the site and get people picking up the phone and calling that company, and send those leads for free. So, like if you've watched any of the material from Hung Lee, you know, there's a cost to acquiring new customers. It's typically, especially with what we do, very, very low. For 50 bucks, I can usually pick up 2 or 3 different customers if I want to. So if you send some traffic to a website that's converting, it's going to generate some calls. You can send that call to a business for free. You can follow up after 3 or 4 calls have been made and say, hey, you know, I've got this website, I've been forwarding you some free leads. You know, you can record those and make sure they're good quality. So you can say, oh, it looks like, you know, those are good quality customers. Would you like to continue with this? If so, I charge this much per lead, and we can just, you know, go forward from here. So they've already got that proof that it's going to turn into good customers coming into their business each and every week, really. And so that's usually how I approach that kind of proof for the most part, but you don't have to have it. For the most part, there are some industries that are just kind of predisposed to buying leads, and construction happens to be one of them. I knew that. I took advantage of that. There's a lot of other ones, though. So just kind of depends on your experience and what you know, and kind of the rapport and the understanding you have of those different industries and business owners. Those all kind of come together to give you a leg up on getting those sales closed and getting those conversions made. All right, question 2 from Michael. Can you explain a bit more about domain authority stacking? I watched the one feed recording the Network Empire guys kindly released, but didn't get into entirely except for the overall concept of lots of links funneling from high domain authority sites. You know what? I would love to, Michael. And, well, I'll just kind of cut the explanation short. Network Empire, different company. Those are their products. I use them. I like them. But if I were kind of given the inside scoop on what they did, it would undermine people actually going through and buying it. And because I'm not, paid or compensated in any way from those guys, and it would actually take away from potentially their revenue as well, I really can't get into it that much. I will say I like it. I use it. It works well, but I really can't get into that many specifics. Hopefully you understand on that as to why. All right, Slav, to get going, I want to focus on YouTube videos. Would it be okay to just hire a good fiber gig, or should I still focus on PBNs? If I were you, I would definitely continue to put work into this. It's something you're going to definitely hit a wall on if you don't start to build your network. Okay, so the N in this PBN is network. One of the reasons we have so much ability to influence the search engines is because of the networks that we own. So fiber gigs work, and they work pretty well still for video and some other properties. But in order to come into a situation where you can kind of write your own paycheck and rank whatever you want, you do need to build these up. So if you want to start with fiber gigs on YouTube, get some of those ranked and get some paying clients, definitely apportion a pretty decent percentage of your income into growing your PBN. That would be my recommendation. All right, Stephanie, what kind of deposit do you get for a site like Plumber Example in the first video? So that was totally just an example, but what I typically will do is get when I sell a client or go close a client, it really comes down to how many leads can they reasonably process and convert at a high level. So if that's an extra 10 per month or 10 per week, or 10 per day. I don't have any clients that have taken that many, but if they can handle that, I don't really take deposits. I take prepayment. So if they want the phone to continue ringing after I've sent them a few free leads, then they prepay for 20 leads. If they cost $50 per call, I get a check for $1,000, and the phone rings until that 20th lead comes in, at which time I auto bill again for another $1,000. So that's kind of how the inside of my business works. Again, those are covered in detail. I kind of opened up my entire business model in that series I did, but that's kind of what it boils down to, Stephanie. All right, Eric, how much luck have you had promoting affiliate offers? Does the money compare favorably? What your local consulting brings in? Well, first of all, I wouldn't call it luck. I have not put near as much effort and thought into affiliate offers for the most part as I do with local services. Because of that, I still make probably between 80 and 90% of my income somehow related to local SEO, whether that's selling leads or doing SEO on client sites or whatever it might be. I do definitely promote affiliate offers. I sell on Amazon. I've got ClickBank offers that I promote. They make sales, and I like that. It's one of those things that's totally kind of hands off after it's set up and going. You don't have to worry about it that much. Paper lead is actually a little like that. Once you have it set up, you don't really have to worry about a client calling and saying, "Oh, why am I not ranked number 3 or 4 or whatever it might be?" And so the kind of the pay-per lead model or CPA model is kind of a low competition affiliate, really, because you don't have that kind of client relationship where there's a lot of back and forth. So what I'm assuming you're talking about here with affiliate offers is like info products and ClickBank, CPA networks, and things like that. One of my CPA offers that I promote, I make, oh, shoot, I don't know, $3,000 to $4,000 a month with. Good income. I'm not trying to say it's not. It's something I definitely like and I want to grow. Beyond that, though, it's probably maybe $1,000, $1,500 a month spread across a bunch of different products. So most of my money, my income comes from local client consulting or selling leads, Eric. When you're forwarding a company free leads, how do you prove the leads came from you? Provide a call log and phone numbers. Yeah, you can do that. Depending on the system you use as well, there's a feature called a whisper that you can put in on a call so that when the phone call is coming in, when the person picks it up at the business, there will be a short message that you can control that is relayed to the person who picks the phone up before the connection's made. So, when the person picks up the phone and says, hello, this is, ABC Plumbing, it'll say, lead from milehighplumbing.net, and then it connects the call. And so they kind of, oh, here's a call coming in from this website. I don't know anything about it, but I'm sure they're going to call me here pretty soon. Let's see what this is about. So it's kind of like a little pre-framing introduction to who you are and what you're going to call about. CallFire has that. That's the one that I started with that I use mostly right now. I'm fleshing out some others. When I get some good solutions, I will definitely share that with the group. But even like CallFire, which is free, you just pay for the phone numbers and the time spent on the phone every month. It has that feature in place. All right, Eric, which other industries are more prone toward buying leads? So construction and, well, building services, that includes an incredible amount of stuff. It includes commercial cleaning. It includes air conditioning and boiler service, insect control, trying to think of some others that come to mind with leads that you can purchase. A lot of insurance type companies are pretty much anything that there is a CPA offer that's being promoted on a lot of different networks for is an easy lead to sell, meaning that the company really doesn't care quite as much that it came in through their marketing channels as they have the opportunity to talk to somebody who's interested in the service they provide. So most of the big kind of industries are kind of set up like that. Construction, insurance. There are probably, I actually sell in the healthcare niche too, kind of alternative medicine. Not that it's that alternative, but chiropractic, acupuncture, some things like that are, where I won't say it's generic, but it's a service that people readily say, oh yeah, the guy's going to come paint my house and get my house painted. If you're working with like a business coach, they're not probably going to be as apt to just buy a blind lead because it could be so far out of left field that it really doesn't fit their business. So start thinking along those lines if you're looking for other industries to say that this is something that's established well enough that people would be willing to buy kind of a generic, customer out of the pool of people looking for that service. All right, Priscilla bought a .us domain not knowing that Whois can't put privacy protection on it because they have excluded TLDs. I did not know that actually. Okay. Was thinking of changing the Whois info to a random name, etc. Is that gray hat, black hat illegal? No, it's not any of those things to my knowledge, Priscilla. And I know people who actually do that on their domains that they just don't want to put Whois protection on. They just make up a random name and go with it that way. So illegal, I always have to give a little disclaimer. I'm certainly not a lawyer, and I don't know specifically. To my knowledge, it's not illegal. But you'd want to check in on that. Like I said, it's certainly not my area of expertise. But as far as the Whois information, the ICANN registry and things like that, I do know people in OMG who do that as far as an alternative to Whois privacy. All right, Slav, what other platform I can use for PBNs except WordPress? Well, PBNs or WordPress doesn't need footprint. Yeah, but there are like hundreds of millions of WordPress sites. So usually not a problem, because what you think about what you're doing, you're not only getting links from your PBN, but you're getting some social activation, which are coming from Twitter. They might come from a Web 2.0 property, or YouTube, or things like that. So you're going to diversify your footprint anyway. And for the most part, I don't know statistics, but I would say the majority of websites, especially in the United States, are WordPress-based as a CMS. Beyond that, they're HTML. And it doesn't, that's not something Google's going to start. They don't care what the CMS is, the content management system. They care a lot more about whether it's a quality site that's providing value. If they send somebody to it, is that person going to be happy with the result? That's kind of how they protect their brand. So I wouldn't worry about WordPress. But to that degree, I would still also use, social signals, YouTube, things like that. Maybe even some Web 2.0, WordPress.com, Weebly, Tumblr, things like that. You can send links from there as well. So that'll break up your footprint. Priscilla, CPA offers come and go. How do you keep up with the changing the links on your sites? The offers I promote have been around for a while. The one that I mentioned that I make a few thousand a month with is not part of a network. They offer one product, and it's a good product. It's part of kind of what I used to do when I was in construction, so I knew it pretty well. I actually need to go and check out those Joe Marfolio videos and see what he's talked about there. I like to kind of have our training a little bit homogenous, or at least reference itself to a degree, so we don't get too like, oh, he said this and this other guy said this and this guy said that. What am I supposed to think here? I have not experienced a bunch of CPA offers changing, but that is likely because I put a lot more time into finding good quality companies that were in their business for a reason. They had a story behind it, and they were not just out there chasing money. If you're out there chasing money, you're going to be very apt to chase shiny objects. You're going to pick up new industries, new things you can promote. You're going to turn those into some new offer and open that up for affiliates, right? So that's kind of the problem we try to fight in online marketing, is to get people, no, all that other stuff, I don't care if it works or not. If you focus on this and make it work, then there will come a time when you can start to look into that other stuff. So I approach the people I actually promote the same way. I do a lot of what you call due diligence, making sure that I'm not picking up a client just to pick up a client, that I'm not closing a deal just because I'll get a deposit. I want to promote companies that treat their customers well, that treat their employees well, that are in their industry or in their business for a reason. And because of that, I have only had to turn over one major customer. And it was because the ownership was very questionable at best with their kind of business practices. And the management actually left the company, started a new company, and I just kind of transferred my accounts over to them. So that's just a little more kind of backstory on what I do. Definitely a situation where I needed to get out there and make money immediately, but it's worth your time to put some more research into it, to go through, actually maybe try to contact some people that promote the offers, make sure they pay on time, see how long they've been promoting the offer, all that kind of thing. The other thing it'll do, especially if you call the people that own those products, it'll get you approved almost immediately. Most CPA offers will not just let you promote whatever they want. It's different than ClickBank, where you just go get your code and you can start firing traffic to the sales page no matter what. CPA offers, because they typically pay you based on a form submission or whatever it might be, you want to make sure that the traffic they're getting is reputable, quality, and all that kind of thing. So actually having some FaceTime, somebody on the phone, you can feel out what the company's about, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to promote. It'll also usually get the door open for you to promote them pretty quickly if you choose to move forward with it. So, yeah, second that. Get some water. All right, Slav, we're going to find lessons on social signals in OMG. You want to talk about it in your 60-day job, but Greg talks about social signals and social links and signals as well. Yeah, we talk about it. You know, for the most part, with many of my money sites, if they're any bigger than just a single keyword focus, I will create a Twitter, a Facebook fan page, and typically some other Web 2.0 properties that are branded kind of the same way, to make those lead gen sites look as much like a local business as possible. So if I were using the Spinal Decompression Phoenix site as an example, I would go create Spinal Decompression Phoenix Twitter account, a Facebook fan page, maybe a Tumblr blog, maybe a Weebly, you know, Web 2.0, and use those not only for links but kind of some social signals as well. You know, for the most part, those are just kind of social activation. The other thing you can do, depending on where you are with your budget, how deeply you are already invested, Social Explosion, which is a plugin that Network Empire offers. It's subscription-based. We'll do that as well. They'll send a lot of mentions on, I think it's Twitter, Pinterest, Digo. I don't know how you pronounce it, D-I-I-G-O, and maybe Delicious. But beyond that, I mean, you can sign up for those accounts yourself. It just takes a little more work and time to get some content posted to them that points back to your website. So you can do it manually. Just pick some good, you know, social platforms that are easy to work with, that look good to you, and yeah, set accounts up, get some links going, get some content over there, and use those really as kind of a supplement to your PBNs, and you should be in good shape. All right, Stephanie, for Priscilla, you can go to fakenamegenerator.com. I'll give you names for addresses from all over the world. Oh, cool. That's good to know. It's a good resource. All right, Priscilla, I'm an affiliate with CPA Networks, and offers keep changing. Okay. Thanks. Cool. All right, Priscilla, whose protection excludes some TLDs? Here's a link. Okay. Yeah, I know there's other countries have that issue too because of their TLD extensions. I think .au, Australian domains, they fall under that category as well. I'm not sure EU for European Union. You've got to have a couple different qualifications to actually even have a business over there, and so I think they want to keep their domain ownership kind of tied to business ownership, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, as far as I know, there are no restrictions on the those top 3 TLD extensions of .com, .net, and .org. You can have who has protection on those, as far as I know. All right, so social signals, I thought it meant more that other people need to talk about my site. And it definitely helps. Those are called shares and mentions, depending on the platform you're on. And those are all great. But, well, for instance, you know, if I were here, and this is, you know, my main Twitter account, which is me, if I said, Now if I tweet that, all right, then I go over to the actual post page. This is a URL right here for this specific post, and this is a no-follow link that, if I click it, will take me over to joshuaflesh.com. Now, if one of the people that follow me on Twitter were to grab this and retweet it, then that's even better, because then that's my same link on a bunch of different URLs, right? That's good. It's all coming from the same domain, but it's different URLs, so more the better kind of thing. Also gives you a greater chance to actually drive traffic through that link, which is really what we're getting at, right? So Google is the monster for driving traffic, but all these other little things that can help you drive traffic are also good. So that's kind of one of the ways I make use of that. It helps with SEO, which is primarily what we're trying to do, but even beyond that, it also helps drive traffic in kind of a different cycle or network. All right, Shane, is it possible to add who is protection after already registering a domain? Is it too late? No, absolutely, you can register after the fact, Shane. If someone were to go back through and look at the history of ownership, it would show up, but so what? It'll essentially kind of look like it was sold with who is protection. Most of the time when you do hit who is research, so there's a couple different places that will do the research for you. It's.com. This is Greg's site that he shows an example, right? So what it shows here, one owner, right? All the historical information is not listed. So there are other services that you can go into deeper and look up the ownership history, and it would show that you were an owner at some point in time, but not that you currently own it. So that's why even after the fact you can put ownership information on there. Sometimes, it's a great question actually, because it's something I encounter, and I actually had a question about it when I first started. So when you get a domain at auction, at times, you'll actually have to pay for it. It'll get transferred to your account before you can go in and put privacy protection on it. So yeah, still just go in and add privacy after the fact, not a problem. All right, Denise, is there any preference as to choosing PDNs or money sites with .com.net.org? Oops, there you go. How about .info? Definitely try to stick with these top three. Of those top three, pretty much equal as far as power and ability to rank and things go, Denise. .info, I have a few, okay, in my PBN. It's not really what I look for, but if I find something that's got great metrics, that's cheap, I'll buy it. Kind of comes down to that. I would not try to necessarily rank it, but if it is something in your PBN network or PBN sites, personal blog network, I wouldn't just totally mark it off the list. I would just really make sure it's good before you spend money on it. For the most part, I stick with those top three. All right, Michael, after 301ing my page, Webmaster Tool is giving me warnings that they can't find the old page, whoops, in the sitemap. That's obviously deliberate, but do I need to fix this in any way? Nah, I really wouldn't. What it means is Webmaster Tools is aware there was a site there that was indexed, or not a site, a URL there that was indexed, and it's not there anymore. And so they're trying to bring that to your awareness. If it was an accident, for you to go back in and fix. If not, don't worry about it. It'll expire, or it certainly won't cause you any problems. You know, if it were half your website or something like that, probably something we might do something different with. But with your situation, with just a couple of those pages, I wouldn't worry about it. Not going to be a problem. Not going to hurt you. All right, Shane. Also, once you also if you're 301ing, yeah, that's fine. Your yeah, your XML sitemap will update, and those 301s will stay in place. I wouldn't worry about that too much. All right, Priscilla, Shane, you can still add who is, as long as it's not in the excluded list. All right. Excluded list. Oh, that's the. I believe I mentioned she'll respond, or she'll respond to it after. But the certain TLD extensions that you cannot get US protection on. .us. On callflyer.com, the monthly fee account also has $25 worth of keywords. Any idea what that means? $25 keywords. Well, let's see. $15 keywords, $10 keywords, $20 keywords. Where'd you go? Yes, I do this. I don't know what this is. They do have some tracking set up if you're doing pay-per-click. I'm gonna sneeze. Hang on a second. Pardon me. They have some tracking set up where you can track your phone calls by keyword. I really never got into that. This may just be like a voucher for AdWords or something like that. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is a site I use. I've never made use of this. And I just do the no monthly fee, pay as you go kind of thing. I'm not sure why. Oh, yeah, the prices have gone up a little bit. When I bought mine, they were all just $1 a number. Now they've gone up to $3 per number. But yeah, there's a couple other services I'm looking into. A couple that you actually have to be invited to use. So Joe Marfolio is actually one of the guys who's kind of starting to bring some more of those to my attention. So hopefully we can get some of those ironed out and give you guys some more options. So. And Michael Denise, I recommend Henlai's searchhighway.ca. I think he has insights on your question. Basically, you can use lots of TLDs. Some are stereotypically better. Okay, cool. All right, cannot give privacy protection with all TLDs. Take a look at the link I just posted. It includes a list of TLDs. Cool. Yeah, as always, super helpful group and session. We're running up on an hour 15, hour 20 in. So if you've got some more questions, make sure you get those in the question box, and I'll make sure to get to those tonight. Beyond that, right now we're kind of scheduling things kind of a week in advance. So as I mentioned, make sure you keep kind of apprised of recent additions in that newsfeed. That'll be where Greg, myself, and Michael all post our next office hours sessions. And also for Greg and Mike, we've got, they run their office hours on GoToWebinar. So there's kind of what I assume most people are familiar with sign-up links. With mine, they're all run this way. So after today's session, the password, so this one actually, the password I kind of, I carried over from before. So there's a bunch of cookie people that didn't have to put new passwords in today. Beyond this, though, there will be a different password. So make sure you go into the Fl1Tch page. That will be where the new password information is for logging into future office hours. Just to make sure that, you know, when you do come to this page, you can get in seamlessly. It'll be a password that is most likely will stay good throughout your coaching term. You know, I think we're in early access hours now. I'll have to ask David about timing and all that kind of thing. But beyond that, just make sure you check there. I usually man my email and Facebook message accounts just in case, but always makes it easier if you guys have the right password for that. Just kind of speeds up the process. All right. Priscilla, as I understand it, it's okay to buy a domain. Oops, it's no longer indexed, as most real expired domains are, because you can get it indexed again. Yeah, so there's a difference between no longer indexed and de-indexed, and it's a pretty big difference. With de-indexed sites, they've done something wrong beyond just not being hosted, kind of thing, and having a parked domain. So a de-indexed site might have been some kind of pure spam penalty, some kind of link wheel issue, some manual review that triggered a de-indexation. In cases like that, you have to go in through Webmaster Tools and submit a request to be reconsidered in the indexation. If it is a site that is just no longer indexed, you can usually just get some new content on it, get some links going to it, and it will re-index on itself. So, yes, that is accurate. There's a little more to the story. I just kind of told the backstory on it just because I wanted people to understand the difference in those terms. But yeah, if you get a site, because like a new TLD, right? A new website that we come up with, XYZ Fl1Tch.org. It's a site never been indexed, so it's not indexed. As soon as I get some content on there and get some links going to it so that the Google bots crawl it, it'll get indexed. That's a situation similar to no longer indexed. If I had xyzfletch.com and it was just a bunch of spammy, gross, whatever, no value at all, it got de-indexed, that's a whole different situation. Then you have to go in through Webmaster Tools, and it's a lot more trouble to get that thing re-included in the indexing. Okay, what were some of the hosting providers you mentioned earlier? I use SEO hosting, SEO hosting, Skynet hosting, BizBuilder hosting, that's Todd Spears, and then I've also got a few money sites on Bluehost and on HostGator. And then I have some PBN sites on Host9. Host9 there are some potential issues with. I'm not putting a lot of new sites on there, but I do have about 15 of my PBN sites on Host9. Reason being, even when you set up custom name servers with them, they keep kind of a duplicate set of name servers that are in use and that show up in the footprint for that. So although I do not know of anyone who has had an issue with it specifically, it is something we're kind of aware of, and because of that, I'm not going to put a lot of effort into it because it could potentially become something that doesn't work. So that being said, that's kind of where we are. All right. That's Pat. That might be a problem. Looks like Fletcher, really appreciate your help. Absolutely. Yeah, and everybody else here. This has been a great session for sure. All right. Denise, thank you for your time, Fletcher. Really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Where do we put that password in though? Okay, so when I turn that on, Denise, when you actually come to the page, it will give you a location to put the password in. So if you come to the page for next coaching session, you'll either get to the page and not have to put the password in, or it will stop you and say, put the password in. So on this host that Joshua Fletcher is on, there is not only a password protection, but a human verification. So you may have to put human verification in as well. It's a two-box setup. SkyWP and 119WP. Those are also, you don't have to remember to write it down or whatever. Those are in the office, the Fletch page in OMG Machines. That's just to make sure that I don't, it's kind of a brute force attack, hack, prevention measure. So, and it's something I can't actually turn off on this hosting. So it works well. It's kept me from getting hacked, but there will potentially, if you haven't been on before, there will potentially be two different kind of sets of logins. One of them is just human verification. It's not really a login. If you log in on a regular desktop, it'll actually tell you what to put in the boxes. And then the password is just a single box. It's, OMG, Spring, Project X. Most likely it'll be something along those lines, Project Juggernaut 2014 or something like that. All right, Stephanie, I think Whois protection could be a footprint if all domains and Whois are coming from the same place like GoDaddy. Yeah, they've got their own single privacy Whois protection. Any input on this? That's why I was taught to use fake name generator, so they look like they're from all over the place, not coming from this one. Yeah, not a problem at all, Stephanie. And along those lines, that's one of the things that Greg has identified as being an issue with domain Ooh, how can I think of the name of it? Domain tools? No. Totally riffing on the name. Sometimes I get a little too caught up on all these details and I forget what I'm talking about. Look here. Maybe network solutions. Yeah, I think it's network solutions. So, yeah. So this September 11th piece of information, protecting and caring for PBN private blog network sites. This is where Greg talks about some of the things that we're doing currently with Whois and Whois protection. So, yeah, Greg didn't talk, or David didn't mention it here, but yeah, network solutions is something that's caused a footprint with the way they handle their Whois protection. Typically, each of the registrars, the registrar companies like GoDaddy or Namecheap or whoever, will have their own Whois protection. And so, yeah, if every one of your sites, money and PBN sites, were registered with GoDaddy, I would do something with the fake name generator. Absolutely correct. Oops. So, otherwise, you should be okay because you're going to get Whois protection from different registrars, which is going to look like a different situation as well. But the fake name generator, as long as those are unique, that's a great method as well, Stephanie. So great ad. All right, Stephanie, thanks for all the great help. Thank you. Glad you're on, Priscilla. Stephanie, you can also use private name servers like Greg teaches. My domain, something like that. I'm not going to do that on all mine. I'm going to do all that on all mine plus Whois protection. Yeah, absolutely. There's kind of 3 steps. And this is something that, just as an overview, you guys probably already know it, but we have Whois protection, we have private name servers, and then we have something called an SOA record. SOA record is essentially the email address for the person who owns the account. Now, you can change all those. And to be safest, I recommend doing all 3 of those. So, Whois protection, private name servers, and SOA records. That's going to be an email. And so do all 3 of those and you will definitely be ahead of the curve as far as privacy and not creating a footprint goes. Yeah, Denise says network solutions. That's the one. All right, Pat, thanks. It's been a great session. Yeah, glad everybody was on today. We're kind of, looks like things are winding down. People are saying thanks. So, like I said, we don't have my next office hour scheduled yet. I will be fluctuating times. Majority of our people are from the U.S., but we do, acknowledge and make considerations for people who are in, other countries and certainly other time zones. So I tend to bounce mine around quite a bit, not only during the week but on weekends. Sometimes earlier in the morning for me, I'm in Arizona, and sometimes later in the evening. So it just kind of, like I said, I bump mine around a lot. To try to cater to people who want to be live. But just check that news feed area and you'll be kind of up to speed on when we have things scheduled. So, Priscilla saying, which area does that SOA record appear? So it's going to be with your registrar, Priscilla. Greg talked about it in his videos. So I was going to open up, if I opened up my registrar accounts at the moment, it would show all of my my websites. So if we look at, go down and see if we can get that. I would have to look through here and read a little more. If you read through the news feed, it'll tell you where those most recent additions to protecting your PBNs is. I would start here, the supremacy page in the third video. Start here and see what that gives you. That may cover all of those three aspects and what to do as far as who is, name servers, and SOA records. Those are the only thing I've heard talk about. That's from Greg, from Todd, from Network Empire folks. Those are the three things you can do to make sure beyond having a a unique IP address. You should be in good shape if you do those three things. And each of the registrars will have a different location for it or whatnot. So you can go check that out. Ray Angelo from Australia. Thanks for this time slot. Yeah, this works for you guys. I'm glad. All right. Yes, okay, I'll figure it out. Cool, cool, cool. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up now. Super big thanks for all of you, not only for being on and asking great questions, but also for helping each other out. So, incredible community. Glad you're all on as you get to know each and every kind of one of us more. I hope you continue to log into these coaching sessions and office hours and things, and also make sure that you're active in the Facebook group. Huge help for other people who most likely have the same questions you do, and even if they don't know it yet, it will kind of speed up their understanding. So super appreciative. Until next time, if you guys have any issues that are more private in nature, if you've got a specific website that you've got some question about, you just can't figure out, you don't want to necessarily share it publicly, even within a coaching office hours environment or the Facebook group. I don't advertise it. We don't advertise it kind of to the group in general. But if you've taken the time to come on these office hours, I'd let it be known that you can email me and let me know what's going on with that. I've helped out several people that way, and certainly within what we want to be able to help out with. So if you've got anything like that, just reach out. Let me know what's going on, and I'll try to help in any way I can. Other than that, though, yeah, we'll just catch up with you guys in the Facebook group and on the next office hour session. Until then, you guys take care, and we'll see you all soon. Find out where I'm broadcasting from here so I can wrap this up. All right, guys, take care.